Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Funnel Trade. It's the 7th of the month. We're going to do our monthly market walk today. So go get a snack and a drink, sit back. We're going to look at some products, some sell-through rates, some prices, and talk about what has happened and where we are going. So let's get into it. So first off, I've selected fewer set boxes this month than normal, and mostly because a lot of these legacy set box products, well, they're not that interesting. A few of them are making pretty good moves. AFR has made some really big moves in recent history. We can see that as recently as 2 months ago, this was 125 market price, and today it's 175. So, man, moved up, what's that, 66% in 2 months? Pretty crazy. And this strikes to the heart of something that I say a lot here, but constantly needs to be reminded of so we don't forget it. It's that printed to oblivion doesn't last forever. Now, yes, you can have issues countering that where you tie your money up too soon. So if you had bought this product on release day in 2021, and now here we are nearly 4 years later, and you finally doubled your money, well, maybe 4 years to double your money, maybe that feels okay. There were some better opportunities in the TCG market since then, to put it lightly. But balancing these things together, it is always important to remember that printed to oblivion doesn't last forever. And at some point, the mantra needs to be dropped when a product does start materially moving up, which this has. So pretty wild to see after having experienced the entire history of this product. It came out in the wake of Modern Horizons 2. Nobody cared. It dropped like crazy. It was overprinted. It was man, and I hate to say this, it was a pretty weak set. So, all things considered, we always like to joke about people who say that every set is weak, but when you look back at the cards that have really gained some value in the set, there were not many. So, one, it's wild to see this moved up to 175. Two, look at this sell-through rate. In the last month, it's selling a box and a half a day. And so we see a pretty quick path over the next few weeks up to $200 out here. So not very long. In fact, this upcoming bonus buck sale a week and a half from now could push it up there if it induces enough demand fast enough. We could see this top $200 barely a week from now. Wild compared to where we've come from. Wilds of Eldraine, speaking of wild, set booster boxes. Now, this got a reprint recently. The prices had gone a bit wild, and we can see the result. We hit a peak market price up here around $200, and even still right before the reprint, right around $200, and then it does what we expect. The market price has crashed down by 25%. So, it's still a standard legal product, I think. Yeah, it's still standard legal, and we've come back down to about $150. Now, should you buy this? Because it's crashed down 25%. I had a discussion with a patron asking this exact question a few weeks ago, and my advice was wait until right at or right after it rotates out of standard legality. Because that's the point when any card store still holding this is going to just try and dump it, because the demand for the product falls through the floor when it rotates out of being standard legal. So I'm not even sure that this is going to be the last low of this product. I think that it could very well come down more when it does eventually rotate. I'm so turned around on all the changes to standard and going to 3-year standard. I can't think right now if this is going to rotate this year or next year. Either way, wait until its rotation and then take another look. We saw the same thing happen with Kamigawa set boxes, that when they rotated, they fell off a cliff. They fell from somewhere around 150 to about 115. So, they had a pretty good 25% drop there. Let's see what the sell-through rate on this is. Whoa, 5 a day. Nice. So yeah, they're going to potentially burn down that reprint. I wonder if we could potentially see even another reprint, because that is some strong demand if TCG Player alone is showing 5 boxes a day. Similar thing here, Lord of the Rings set boosters. Saw a reprint recently. It was all the way up to 220 market price, and today it is 162. So lost nearly a third of its value on another reprint. This is coming up at a 2-year-old product, which is where WotC will usually stop supporting things, with the exception of Standard, that's now 3 years legal. But, you know, in the past, we've seen things like Modern Horizons 2 was supported for about 2 years, and a lot of these other non-standard products. So I would not be surprised if this was the last reprint we see of it. What is the sell-through rate looking like? 9 a day. 9 a day. Whoa. Okay, so what do we look like gapping up in the future? Yeah, I mean, that doesn't leave a lot of days. How many are in the market? Okay, so there's 280 in the market, selling 9 a day. So it'll sell through what's in the market now in about a month. Many more boxes will come to market in that time. So, you know, we could expect to see that $200 price point regained in 2 or 3 months, somewhere around there, and then start to see some good movement upwards. But man, that's amazing to see. Amazing to see the price drop on the back of the reprint, how big it was, nearly a third, and then see that it is selling so fast still. So this is another one where, you know, if the IP contractual agreement is still there, you could very well see another reprint of this before it becomes unsupported. Time Spiral Remastered. Always love taking a look here. So $290 today for the cheapest box. Nice to see that that's finally moved up. You see, compared to the market price is all the way down here at $254. So that means that we've had some very, very fast, hard movement to the upside when the market price is under tracking the current lowest ask price. So that means that we've moved very quickly in recent time. And wow, really not on the back of any major volume either. Selling pretty slow, 1 box a day. Okay, well, I'll take it. I think these are nice boxes. I don't think they're great boxes, you know. They're not like some of the wonderfully engineered boxes, but these are pretty good. I'd say they're above average, but they're not stellar. But seeing that let's see, we'll hit $300. Yeah, it's got a number of boxes backed up here before $300 and selling through 1 a day. So it's probably looking at a couple more months before it gets there. Okay, next up. Modern Horizons 2 draft boxes. I put this up here because the draft and set boxes of Modern Horizons 2 really are moving slowly. And yeah, we got reprints right before the end of the life of the products, but it has been a while that these boxes have been out of print. Nearly 2 years they've been out of print, and they have not gone anywhere. Part of it is that last summer we got Modern Horizons 3, which sought to instantly rotate the format beyond the power level of Modern Horizons 2. So that definitely hurt it, but it is amazing to see that there are enough boxes in the market that it's resisting going up, only selling about a half a box a day. So very slow, and a lot of boxes still left to move through, a lot of time to crunch through them before we firmly get to the $200 price point on this. So yeah, still going to be a while. I would estimate I have somewhere between 1 and 2 cases of this. Double Masters 2022 draft has moved up above $300. So 3 months ago it was at a market of $284. Today the market is $317, but apparently someone's come in and there's maybe been some fighting in the market to undercut and push the prices back down. Oh, it's a new account. A couple of new accounts with low feedback. Often you'll see new accounts selling boxes below the current market price in order to try to get people to take a chance on them when they are a unproven new seller. So that's what we're doing here. If we go out to sellers that have some history, we're at $330. So yeah, TCG Player protects buyers very, very well. It protects sellers too. It is pretty nice being a seller on TCG Player, especially compared to eBay. And yes, I know eBay owns TCG Player, but it protects both ends of the transaction, so you don't have a ton to worry about buying from these new kinds of sellers, and so you can often get pretty good deals and maybe help out a new account. Of course, I start recording this and The lawn men come for my neighbor's house next door. They'll move off in just a minute. So 330, and then not many boxes, and we're up to 350. Wow. Wow. If we see a pretty good turnout on the bonus box sale here in a week and a half, we could see 350 on this product. Man, that's really amazing. When this came out in, it was 2022. It has it in the name. Why am I thinking about it? When it came out in 2022, of course, it was hyper overprinted at the time. It's a good set, better than average. I mean, it's a master set. What do you expect? But it has taken a long time to recover. Aetherdrift play boxes, $90 now. This is when they went down to 30 boosters per box. I still think the break-even cost for a small card store on this platform is somewhere around 110 or 115, something like that. So this is well below. And you see how it's come down as a result of the TCG expansion life cycle. And I think the reason I showed this was because the next item, yes, Tarkir, also 30 packs per box, a little more recent. In fact, it was the very next standard expansion release, and they're holding 120. So literally 33% higher price. Is it the curse of the hat sets? It could be. I'm leaning more and more to that theory over time, that really does have an effect. And you have to imagine where it has the effect is in the desirability of playing the limited environment. So do you want to play the limited environment that's all about motorcycles and wearing hats, or about dragons and high fantasy and magic's kind of traditional and more regular theming? I think it's more and more over time a theory that makes some sense, especially when you see these differences in box prices. Now, maybe we'll come back in 3 months and Tarkir play boxes will be $90, but I kind of doubt it. Aetherdrift. Okay, so we're going to go into collector boxes, and the reason that I spend way more time on collector boxes is these really are the blue chip products of Magic. They are one printing and done. They contain the best cards. They have the best economies of scale. They have the lowest shipping costs. So just as tradable assets, they have the lowest friction. Lots of things going for them, and it's why I focus the most on them in terms of buying and selling and of just keeping up with the prices. Limitless Games, shout out to Limitless Games. They are just down the road from me, just a few miles from my house. So Aetherdrift has come down a lot, of course. Very, very high pre-release. I think we have to go to the 6-month plot to hit the peak on this. Gosh, 285. Now here we are, 185. Less than 6 months later, it's dropped $100. Man. And a lot of boxes backed up here in the 190s and before 200. So, wow. It's going to be a while. And if it's anything like Murders and Outlaws, then the Curse of the Hat set, it may be years before it recovers enough. Of course, Murders collector boxes are still below wholesale, I think. Outlaws have just barely moved above wholesale. Bloomborough, give us that regular Magic flavor and people will want to buy it. $420. What are we selling in the market? 2 a day. Wow. 2 a day. And what's the backup look like before some gaps up? Pretty decent number of boxes. So it's going to be a few months before we see any big movement on that. But a standard expansion collector box from 2024 already at $420. And of course, Tarkir Dragon Storm, $168.69. Sorry, $369. And it's marched up very nicely since the set released. Do we have any gaps? No, it's going to be a little bit. Yeah, same kind of thing, but I bet the sell-through rate is even healthier on this. 46 a day in the last month, but that includes release day. So if we just come to the last few days here, we see 12, 13, 12, 26. So, about a dozen boxes a day right now. You have to be careful. When you have the release day contained in these numbers, you'll have a huge spike and the averages will be thrown off. So in those cases, you need to look just out at the right-hand side of the volume chart. Call time. Now, my recollection, was that this has come down a bit Okay, so we peaked up here, market price of 197, and we're down to 190. So a little less dramatic than my memory was, 190. And this is another one of those printed to oblivion, doesn't last forever kind of examples. Because yes, it was way overprinted. This was beginning of 2021 when this released. And man, this is one of the worst engineered collector boxes ever. Nothing special in it, nothing to write home about. And yet, here we are in the last, let's look it over the 1 year plot. A year ago, it was 162, and today it is 190. So that looks less amazing than it has in the past because time has stretched out and the price has come down. But we've seen what kind of movements can happen in short periods of time. Looks like potentially retaking $200 in a while, but 2/3 of a box per day being sold. Not very strong sales. It could get a little boost from the bonus buck sale in that will pull a lot of sales to the left on the timeline, speed them up a bit. But in my experience as a seller, it always, very anecdotally, feels like what a bonus buck sale does is it pulls sales to the left, and then you have lower sales afterwards, and you definitely have lower sales before the bonus buck sale as people are anticipating it and saving their dollars to spend them with the cash back. Unfinity, $221. Of course, in the last year, this has come up from 166 to 220, so about a 40% increase, selling one box a day, and not a lot of good future action on it. It's going to be quite a while for it to start moving up anymore. Zendikar Rising, this one has finally moving up. It has been years. This has been stuck around the 220, 230 range for many, many, many years. And now we see in the last couple of months, it's moved up from that 225 market to 250 market. I know, a very modest appreciation, not very high above wholesale still. And this is a 2020 era product. Yeah, this was the last standard expansion of 2020. Whoa. And it has taken this long despite the excellent Expedition box toppers, despite the foil Expedition lands in the packs, despite Onath, I can't remember. I'm trying to think, I got confused there on Theros Beyond Death. That had more really impactful cards in it. But interesting here that we see some potential movement up. Not many boxes. Okay, these are English language. Often they'll break these out if they're going to be a different language, but 5, 8, 10 boxes, and then we gap up to 280. So not really bad, and it's selling 1.5 a day, really. Okay, so maybe by the end of the bonus buck sale, we see this at 280. Do we have any more gaps? Often the gaps will start to stretch out after you get over the initial one because most buyers have not come in and set future prices with the later gaps in mind. It seems like a lot of sellers will come into the market. They'll look at the market and they might say, there's a cluster of boxes right here at the current prices. But then after that, it gaps up $20. And so they'll aim to get after that gap. They'll put their boxes right there. But people aren't doing that analysis for the later gaps, the second and the third and the fourth gap in a market. They're really not looking out that far on the timeline. And so you see that you'll have bigger bounces in fewer boxes. And here's 300 already after just about another 10 boxes after that next gap up to 280. So nice to see that Zendikar Rising is finally catching some movement upward. Patrons, I still have sealed master cases of this. PM me if you want to buy one. I'll give you a good deal. Dominaria Remastered collector boxes, 250. I will never miss a chance to reiterate that I think this is one of the best products in the entire market right now. And we see that it bounced off, well, about the same, 249. It's 248 on the market price today. Of course, you can see the vertical axis here only spans $8, so not really. It exaggerates the look of this curve when it's only an $8 vertical axis in reality. But any gaps up here? Well, you hit 270. Wow. Okay, so potentially a $20 gap up in about 12 boxes. Nice. Not too bad. What's our sell-through rate? 2 a day. Very respectable, like that. And then what do we see after? 270, 275, 285. Yeah, here's 300 out here. So maybe in a couple months, maybe 3 months from now, we'll see 300 on this. You always have to put a pretty big factor on this kind of market depth analysis, because more boxes will be coaxed into the market as sellers see that what they're holding in their closets has gained in value. Innistrad Remastered all the way down to 250. This was 380 prior to release. Is that correct? 343. Okay. I'm confusing Aetherdrift and Innistrad Remastered. Aetherdrift was 280. This was closer to 350. All right. So it's come down from basically 350 to 250, shed $100. I think this is definitely a buy at this price. I have put back some more on Amazon dumps. By the way, WotC's Amazon dumps, for the last 2 or 3 weeks, there's not been anything great on there. We are in the very center of the financial quarter right now, so I think it will be picking up, and potentially after we get through this bonus buck sale, because it's not a great interest in dumps from Amazon when you're looking at 13% back on bonus bucks coming in a week and a half. So the bonus buck sale, it's going to be 10% back for everyone. And then you have your infinite subscription bonus, which can be 1 to 3% depending on how long you've been on there. So if you've been an infinite member for at least a year, you'll be getting 13% cash back on that sale. And the gaps up are going to be pretty slow on this because it's still so new of a product. 3 selling a day. Yeah, it's going to be a while before we see some movement, but I still expect this, say at its 1 year mark, to be outperforming Ravnica Remastered at its 1 year mark. I still believe it will be very slightly outperforming. Here's Ravnica Remastered. So we're looking at 315. Has this crashed? I thought I remembered this being higher. Yes, this has crashed. Now, what happened? So it peaked up here around 390 market price, and we're looking at 365 market price today, but the lowest ask at 315. This is highly irregular. This is unexpected, and it is an incredible buying opportunity. I don't know what happened, because WotC has not put a giant dump of these out on Amazon. Okay, well, there we are. It's a new seller with only 2 sales, and he's undercutting the market by $80. Sorry, guys, the crash has called off. These are still $382. So it is just one new seller trying to get people to buy from him. Okay, now we understand. $382. The world makes sense again. And no, these have not crashed from previous market price of $390. The lowest ask from a non-brand new seller today is $382. And do we have any good gaps? 413, 420, nice. 420, 430. Wow. Almost 440. There's 450, and there's 500, but we're at the end of the market. So what's the depth? 51 boxes in the market right now, and it's selling 3 a day. 51 boxes, and it's selling 3 a day. Wow. So, wow. We're going to, I bet this is a $500 box by the end of the year. I would say greater than 50% chance we're looking at a $500 box by the end of the calendar year. Amazing. The market depth is so low. Again, as I've talked about in the past, this box specifically was very, very short printed. When people started doing mass openings of this boxes for card stores, they saw how common the serialized cards were, and they were able to back out from the math that these were very, very short printed. That's why a crash down to $300 felt so weird a minute ago before I noticed that it was just one seller. Dominaria United 225. Finally catching some action, up $25 in the last 3 months. What's our sell through? 1 a day. And I would not expect a lot of gaps on this. This is another one of those printed to oblivion products, and it has not been long enough yet. Brothers War, this one has started to come up for a long time. I was selling this to patrons, I believe, at 205 maybe, something like that. So we're looking 6 months ago, a market price of 227. Today, 267. So it's up about 18% in the last 6 months. Not bad. Got some gaps up to 280 and then 300 pretty soon after that. What's our daily sell through? 2 a day. Pretty solidly 2 a day. So again, we could see this by the end of the calendar year at $400. People underestimate how different this kind of market is when you're talking about scarce collectibles that people destroy for fun. When the inventory of these left in the world goes down every day, you have completely different market dynamics than other things. $335 for Doctor Who, of course, our big giant buyout somebody did of 45 boxes in one day. The price blasted up to $500, and then it is slowly drifted back down. $335. Yeah. Not surprising to see. I mean, the actual purchase volume has been anemic since then. What are we looking at on the 1 month? 12 boxes in the last month, 60 in the market. Don't expect any movement on this anytime soon. I'm still sitting on several cases of this. Brothers War again, we already did that one. Double Masters 2022. All right. Famously, this almost reclaimed its release day 2022 price just a few months ago, and then it's been on a downturn since then, peaking up here 281, which is within $10 of what it was on release day in 2022. It has had such a rough and battered life. I'd like to see this come up in price, $250 today. I'm thinking maybe the sealed sale I'll do the night before the bonus box sale will be on sealed cases of this, because I can give a good discount above what the bonus box sale will be able to give due to bonus box sale limitations of $50 cash back on any single item, including a case, including a master case. So I can actually make a deal out of that. I'm thinking that's what I'll do. Let me know if you're interested in that. So 250s, and then, wow, okay, hold on. So we're at about 250, then we go 260, 265, 265, 270, 279, 280, 290. Yeah, not a lot before we start gapping up there. Man, not bad. So what's the sell-through looking like? 3 a day. And that is actually pretty solidly 3 a day. I mean, that's like 2.6 per day. Very nice. So moving lots of volume. But man, this was the first time that WotC said, hey, let's give them 4 booster packs. Let's see if they'll pay more money for 4 booster packs than they've been paying for 12. And yeah, that's why it crashed down from 280 on release day. And there was a time period I was selling these to my patrons. Remind me, please, I think it was somewhere like 180 or 200. For a long time, I was selling these to my patrons for 200. I got a great deal on a lot of them. Modern Horizons 3, $433. Great to see how this has come up. Oh, I need to stretch out the pot because this is nearly a year-old product now. And yeah, it's been pretty tight in this range. All right, so that looks really good. Sell-through rate, 1.5 a day, about. And are there going to be any good gaps? The thing I'm always looking for, and especially as we're going into this bonus box sale here in a couple days, or late next week, is products where the gap up in price is going to be in the next couple months. Generally under 3 months is what I'm looking for. So if I can go into the bonus box sale and I can buy something at a 13% discount, I can pay with a PayPal credit card and get another 3% cash back on that. And then within 3 months, I'm looking at $30, $40, $80, $100 gaps up. Those are the kind of things that I really love, where you can buy it at the discount to today's market price, and then you reasonably expect that in a short period of time, it's going to gap up to a much higher market price. This $450 all the way down here, and then it jumps into the 500s, but that is quite a ways off. So yeah, not a lot of future action expected on this very quickly. Moving on, Wilds of Eldraine, $495. Is this going to be another new seller? Yep, it is. And the rest of the boxes from established sellers, $558. And these appear to be English language, slightly cheaper from newer sellers. Okay, so 558 once we get the new sellers out of the way. And, you know, like I said, buyer protections are very good on TCG Player. If you want to swoop in and buy up from these new guys and get a discount, it's not a bad idea. In the last month, it's gone from 445 to 540. So a $100 increase in 1 month on the market price. I sold these to patrons on a sealed sale recently. I think was the price $515, I believe, something like that. And we are moving one a day. Yeah, one a day is pretty reasonable once you get up into this $500 to $600 range. And you see pretty soon here, wow, very soon, after about the 6 or 7 boxes that are out there, you hit $600. Patrons, I have these on the monthly sales list right now for, I believe, $550 or $555, something like that. And they'll remain up there at that price until I sell out. But hits up to $600 and then $750 after a few more boxes. More boxes will come into the market, but the reality is this is nearly a 2-year-old product and the supply is low. Foundations. Now, this is going to be another new seller. It's got to be. Yep. Okay, so the same new seller we've been seeing, selling at $315. Again, buyer protections are good. You can probably buy that, and if you have a problem, TCG Player will take care of you. And you would save $100 off of the established sellers. Wait, these are Japanese boxes. So English, yeah. So you're looking at $470, and this one is $315. Okay, that's maybe a little too good to be true. You could give it a shot, and they will still take care of you if there's a problem. Over $100 off if you want to potentially waste your time. So that's really the only thing that you're going to be out. $465. What are these looking like? 2 a day on the sell-through. They've actually come down on the market price by about $25. No, $15 in the last month. Okay. Still feels good that this is a standard expansion collector box from 2024. Sold at a wholesale price of under $200, and today they are $460. So still feels great, even if it's down $15. Phyrexia, the first of the adjusted collector boxes from early 2023. 400, yeah, $500 once you add that shipping in there. And we've seen this huge leg up in the last 3 months. 3 months ago, it was $345, and today the market price, the market price is $422, severely lacking the lowest ask price. Again, this is a sign that the price movement has been very fast and on such low volume that this market price has not been able to catch up. The market price is a trailing average of 30 or 50 most recent sales. TCG Player has changed it over time, and they've also changed how willing they are to tell us how the market price is computed. So they used to be very transparent, and they seem to be less transparent on it now. So $500, 500, 500, 500. Lots stacked up here at 500. Then we jump to 575 and 6. What's our 1 month sale through rate? 1 2/3 boxes per day, and there are only 29 in the market. So man, this is going to jump up. I have more of these on the way. Guys, there will be a sealed sale on this later this year, but I do not have them in my hands. Guys, if I had this in my hands right now and I could do a sealed sale today, I would do it today so that you guys could capture the gap up on this, but I just do not have them physically in my hands yet. Core 21 collector boxes. Now, forever, these were stuck. Over the last year, we've moved from 206 to a market of 235, but the lowest ask is 275. So, yep, what we're seeing is very low depth left in the market, 21 boxes. Now, they only sold 10 in the last month. So, yeah, very, very, very low depth. I think I have some of these coming too. I could do a small sale on these. I don't know how much interest there's going to be in Core Set 21, but we could do it. Goes up to $300 here, but it's going to be a while when you're only selling 10 per month and you're going to lure more of them out onto the market. Original Lord of the Rings, look at that price, guys, $1,000. $1,000 for the lowest priced box. Man, sure the sell-through rate's pretty low. Whoa. Whoa. One a day? One a day at $1,000? Whoa. And there are only 21 left in the market right now. Guys, hold on. You know, sadly, I don't have many of these, just a handful. Sadly, I did not get more, but wow, $1,000. Now, special edition, I have a bunch of these, and $1,800 for the cheapest one in the market right now. 24 is the market depth, and they've sold 17 in the last month. The gaps are going to get crazy. You got 4 boxes before you hit $2,000. And after that, it slows down. Well, you only got about 10 more boxes before you hit 2,800. It's a wild ride, guys. At some point, I will put some of these up for sale. I have offered them in the past to patrons for box opening videos, and I had no takers. I think the last time I did that was at $1,000, and had no takers on that. That's fine. I kind of expect my patrons are not the box opening type, especially the pay other people to open your box for you types. Eventually, I will put some of these up for sale when I'm at the cusp of opening the card store and I need the cash. I will put some up for sale to my patrons. Commander Masters collector boxes, $280. The last 3 months, we've seen these come up from $225. Nice. So about 20% increase, a little less than that over the last 3 months. Sell-through rate 4 a day. Whoa, 4 a day. How many are in the market? 66. So there's 15 days, 16 days of supply in the market. Yes, more will come to the market. Do not worry. It doesn't mean the market's going to be sold out in 16 days. The price will rise. The sales will slow. More boxes will come into the market, but you can use it as a very, very, very loose predictor of the market. But look at this. We have 1 box, and then we gap up to $295. Nice. $295. And then after that, yeah, holds that 300 mark for quite a while. Jumps to 340, but that's going to be a while. Yep, very good. I have one of the investors I work with who has a giant stack of these. I keep trying to get him to let me sell them on a sealed sale, and he wants to hold them longer. So I will bring it with a big discount when I can. Okay, Pokemon. So we're going to take a look at a couple of these Scarlet and Violet era boxes that are, yeah, the big movers. We're going to see in the last 3 months, this has come down from 265 to a market of 219. The lowest ask today is 225. Not too much movement between there. Got some other language boxes, and we're going to have a pretty big pile up here to 235. So, you know, the cracks we were seeing in the market, they don't feel as cracky as they did a couple weeks ago. So, you know, we could move back into a sustained upward movement of the Pokemon market, or maybe those printing presses running 24 hours a day will be enough to pull the whole market down. Part of this price movement is just the TCG expansion life cycle, and now people are anticipating the coming Team Rocket set. Surging Sparks, the next one of these big movers of the last couple months, peaked here at 264, got a reprint, dropped down, and wow, it's taken another leg down off of this local high of 250, so $10 down in the last couple of weeks. That's okay. I think I picked up a couple of these boxes somewhere around 230 last month, somewhere around that. Lots of half boxes and things like that. 240s and then 250s. Yep. It's just going to take more time. It's going to take more of the printing press running, and all the time you still have the same production schedule from Pokemon of a new major release every 3 months. So, you know, it's not like time stands still and they stop releasing new products and they can catch up to the demand of these old ones. It's not always like that. And Twilight Masquerade, 228 in the market. 232 before the reprints, bottomed out at 207, and now it's back up to 227 on the market prices. So yep, this has bounced off the reprint and continues to see strong demand. Now, there's another factor at work here, and that's that the very cheapest box in the Pokemon market right now, I think, is this. 194? Maybe there's some other Scarlet and Violet, early Scarlet and Violet era stuff that's a little cheaper than this, but this is nearly the cheapest box. So, you know, when you're seeing the cheapest boxes are somewhere in the 180 to 200 range, well, a 207 Twilight Masquerade feels like a good price because it's a more recent set. It's SWSH, and we're about to get SV10. I believe. Don't quote me on that. So these were 163 on the market price just 3 months ago, right as they were going out of stock on Pokemon Center. Of course, if you got in late on Pokemon Center, like I did, like I implored my patrons to, you were getting them at 144, and today they are 198. So a 30% increase in 3 months. And not really any gapping up to be had here very soon. The sell-through rate, 2 a day. Respectable, closer to 2.5 per day. Chilling Reign. So in the last 6 months, yep, took a little bit of a dip, and now it's back at all-time highs. The Sword and Shield bear market is over. We're back up to $387. Yes. Golly, all the times people told me I was dumb for buying this box. All the times Reddit screeched that this was a garbage product that would never be worth anything because they were looking out there at that day, seeing it for $90 delivered to your door, and they couldn't imagine the future. Here we are, $387. This is why I tell people that if you haven't spent an entire cycle in this market or any other market, it's really hard to understand the way things work. So $400 out here in the future. These are great long-term holds. 2 a day. 2 a day on a product that's been out of print as long as this has. Amazing. $744. Guys, are you seeing this? $744, and the market price is $583. That means the movement on this, yes, it's been parabolic. That's the shape. Wow. So let's go back. Oh, come on, TCG player. Hold on. Let me reload the page and see if it fixes their plot. Once in a while, they have just a problem with their plots like that. Nope. Okay. Well, the last 3 months, it's just come up, and it has absolutely spiked more recently. You know, we're going to have another $1,000 Sword and Shield era box soon. I bought a lot of these back when they were $90, $92, $88 shipped to your house. Yeah, in late 2021 and through most of 2022. Ah, boy, feels good. Lots of little ancillary products, and $750, $800, $800, and then 2 boxes, and it's $900. Yeah. Printed to oblivion, does not last forever. Brilliant Stars, Sword and Shield era, also caught up in all that 2022 negativity. $400, and you see the giant movement recently and the lagging market price of $326. So another one that has just moved very fast, very recently. Huge spikes up in volume and price. $400. You start to look for $100 gaps. There's $500. That's probably about 20 boxes away. And what's our sell-through rate? 4 a day. 4 a day. Lost Origin, the last of the Sword and Shield products we'll take a look at, crossing $400. So over the last 3 months, it's been a lot flatter. The market price is $400, so it's not experiencing the big spikes like the other ones. And 400, 400. No big gaps up. But what's it selling in the last month? Nearly 3 a day. 144 boxes in the market right now, so that is rather high. relative to how old this product is and its current price. Okay, quickly, we're going to move in to these couple of big eBay sellers. P Football Pete, Destin Rivals ETB, $100. Oof, I don't like it. Prismatic Evolutions ETB, $125. That's actually down. Journey Together Enhanced Box, $210, so that's a little better than TCG Player. Outlaws, I'd been advertising this on my Friday seal deals from this seller at, was it $180 for a couple of weeks? They finally adjusted their price upwards. Dragonstorm Tarkir, $360. Twilight Masquerade, $220. So they were $207 on TCG Player. Seeing a lot more Japanese Pokemon boxes in the US market here in the last couple months. A lot more sellers have them. Hopefully there's more of it coming in than in the past. Modern Horizons 2 play box is $220. It was the same price on TCG Player. I didn't cover it this month, but that's a good price. It is it's a money loser for most card stores in the US at that price on these expensive marketplaces. P Football P gets a special rate with eBay. He pays lower fees, so he's able to offer lower prices. Amongst other reasons, he's able to offer lower prices. Journey Together ETB, $70. Man, that still feels bad. Fallout Commander deck sets, $168. Huh, interesting. Given that that's a, golly, about a year old product at this point. A little more than a year old. Very sad. All of these kind of V boxes, EX boxes, those kind of things continued to have elevated prices. Always enjoyed buying those, giving them to relatives' kids for birthdays and Christmas and things like that. Sometimes opening them to harvest the booster packs, but we are just at the wrong end of the market cycle for that. You know, there was a time when I was buying dozens of Boltund V boxes that had Fusion Strike, Brilliant Stars, and Evolving Skies booster packs in it, and I was paying between $3 and $4 per booster pack. Then I was also getting promo cards and oversized cards that I sold on TCG Player to reduce the cost. Man, good times, but again, it was the total opposite end of the market than we're at now. Bloomborough play boxes are cheaper on TCG Player. Mimichu, whoa, those are still around? I bet there's some inverted EV between booster packs, because that has Sword and Shield booster packs in it, I believe. Wait, no, those are gray bordered cards. Okay. Do your own research. Dragon Ball, One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh!, all these other games we're not interested in. Magic Kamigawa set boxes, $125. You know, I really, really want to buy a bunch of those, but man, again, collector boxes are just the blue chip asset. Set boxes, a Lord of the Rings, $200 here. They were $160-ish on TCG Player. Innistrad Remastered collector boxes, they were $250 on TCG Player. You can really tell it's a retreating market when you see so many things cheaper on TCG Player than here. There are so many, let's say, price advantages that these couple of big dealers on eBay have. Very sad. These kind of boxes historically would have been closer to $16, $17, $18. But it's just the madness in the market of Pokemon right now that's causing them to be so high. Lorcana. Even this Mabostiff EX box. I think I bought some of these maybe a year ago. I don't know. Gave them as gifts. Crown Zenith Morpeko V Union Premium Playmat Collection. There is a regular Playmat Collection that only has 5 boosters. The premium one has 7. But man, crazy to see how these Crown Zenith prices have gone up. It really took a roller coaster ride over its career. At the beginning, Crown Zenith was so underprinted, the prices spiked up like crazy, and then the reprints caught up and crashed the prices. I put a lot of Crown Zenith products back in the closet, and now they've been discontinued and the prices are coming back up. 209, so you can see they have not adjusted their set box price for Wilds of Eldraine to account for the new reprint. They were 140 on TCG Player. Duskmourn Commander. Star Wars Unlimited, the next Star Wars TCG that's going to be canceled, along with the other 7 that were previously canceled in the last 30 years. Stay away from that. More Yu-Gi-Oh! MetaZoo UFO. Oh boy. Seance. Oh boy. Dodge that bullet. I spent exactly $0 on MetaZoo. Destined Rivals. Okay, these are probably auctions. Something like that. Or I don't know what he's doing. So, the prices out of him not looking as good as they traditionally do. But again, for Magic, it's because it's a down market. His Pokemon product prices are pretty decent. Now, let's move over. Flipside Gaming, the other big dealer on eBay that I like to keep an eye on. So, Final Fantasy pre-orders. Hard to say what good prices on this will be. Obviously, if you want the play boxes on day one, $150 for the play boxes, about what you're seeing most places. Watch out, there are Japanese language collector boxes out there. Be sure you know what you're buying. Now, here we go. Lord of the Rings set boxes, $165. Final Fantasy Commander Collection, $800. Guys, wait for reprints. Golly. $250 for Innistrad Remastered. I did not touch on Dungeons & Dragons this month. I was going to give it a break because the boxes really have not moved much from where they have been the last couple of months. Commander Masters Draft Box is $300. That's kind of close to the consensus price. Anything else interesting in here catching my eye? Murders Collector Box is $200. You know, we've seen Outlaws come up more recently. Ooh, nice. Final Fantasy Collector Box is $640. So, you know, if you're going to be poised to buy at the very first moment of the bonus bucks sale and you get your maximum $50 off of a Final Fantasy Collector Box off of the $280-ish that it is on TCG Player today, then it'll be a little cheaper than this. Or actually, maybe not. Maybe not, because you can have a 3 1/3% cash back with your eBay MasterCard. So do your own math and figure out where you're going to get those boxes the cheapest. But this is definitely a contender for the cheapest price out there over the next couple of weeks. $203 for Aetherdrift collectors. They're cheaper on TCG Player. And then there's also a bonus buck sale coming. $280 for Dominaria Remastered. They are cheaper on TCG Player. So yeah, really disappointing on the prices on these two guys for a lot of things. Still $180 for Doctor Who. That got a big reprint about 6 months ago. AFR collector boxes, $240. Printed to Oblivion does not last forever. Star Wars Galaxy, Altered, all these other games that are trying to maintain a foothold. Most of them have no moat in terms of player base. And, you know, that's the biggest thing for me. Do they have a player base that will provide a moat around them for years to come? $151 Japanese. Lots of Japanese products for sale from this vendor also. If you are interested in getting into those, I have expanded into putting those in my closet over the last 4 months or so. Modern Horizons 2 set boxes for $250. Cheaper on TCG Player. I admire the optimism of that price. More Japanese Pokemon. $190 new Capenna. Is it time for this product? Is it time yet? I've considered taking some of these unloved collector boxes and putting a bunch of them together in a sale for my patrons. I don't know how well that would be received. And all the other less popular products. all these other games, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Lorcana, Weiss, One Piece, Keyforge. Okay, so let's go back to the camera and I will wrap it up. So look, guys, I do this video once a month just to kind of reset my expectation of where the market prices are. It's an important thing when you're investing heavily in a market and you are active in it every day, that you keep a proper mental model of where the prices are, where they've been recently, and that will help you identify the deals when you see them. It will potentially help you identify things that you can strike at in the short term in order to gain advantages. Like I talked during this video, the one that I really love, especially coming up to a bonus buck sale, is the idea of getting 13% off in the bonus buck sale, getting another 3% cash back on the credit card in addition to that, and then having something gap up to a large degree right afterwards. So those are the kind of opportunities I'm looking for patrons. So yeah, I'll probably run Double Masters 2022 sealed collector cases. Those run around $2,000 or so. I'll probably give a discount of somewhere around $100 to $150, maybe $200 per case on the next sealed sale. That will be Thursday, the night before the bonus buck sale. So yeah, it's really hard for me to make a sealed sale that really entices people to spend a lot of money when there is a bonus buck sale coming up. But that is one place where I can undercut TCG Player and give a good deal. So I've got a couple other videos I'm working on for today, something big coming out tomorrow, the 3 levels of investor. That's been requested by a patron and I've been putting it off too long. But I'm going to make that probably this afternoon, publish it tomorrow, and get back onto the train of making videos every day. I took 4 or 5 days off from being sick and my dad came to visit. So it's going to be great. The market is as the market always is. It moves up, it moves down, it moves sideways. If you're patient, if you have a good plan and you follow it unemotionally, you can make money in every phase of the market. You'll make more in some phases than others, but you can do well in every phase. I've been here for 4 years and I'm here for the long term. Let me know what you think, guys. Thanks to everyone who makes this content possible, especially my very generous supporters on Patreon. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade.